You can close your Sidurim for a few moments. It's my pleasure to introduce this year's Pride Shabbat speaker, Kevin Friedmann. Kevin, this is his bio. Kevin is a corporate lawyer serving as head of corporate, M&A, and securities practice group for the Chicago office of the global law firm, Norton, Rose, and Fulbright. His practice is focused on helping emerging technology companies grow through capital raising, transactions, mergers, and acquisitions. At Norton, Rose, Fulbright, he also serves as co-chair of the firm's first-generation affinity network, supporting professionals identifying as first-generation American or first-generation college or law school graduates. Kevin also was recently elected to serve as a member of the NSCI Board of Trustees. He and his husband, Andrew, and their two boys, Leo and Eddie, Leo here, Eddie in the back, are members of the congregation, and since they joined this congregation, very, very quickly made it clear that this was their home and have offered so much of themselves as individuals and a family here in our community. So they are no strangers to any of us here. Notably, Kevin just marked his adult bar mitzvah, now 4 weeks ago. Leo just marked his bar mitzvah 2 weeks ago, and we want to prove that at North Shore Congregation Israel, people stay after bar and bat mitzvah. So we ensured that Kevin and the family would be here 2 weeks later to demonstrate what Jewish adulthood looks like. So with no further ado, won't you warmly welcome Kevin Friedmann? You good like this?
Shabbat Shalom. I'm honored to stand before you today. It's a moment that was foreshadowed by a dream I had many years ago, but which I could not imagine happening in real life until very recently. I'll share more about the dream in a little while, but first I'd like to introduce myself and my family. I joined the NSCI community in 2024 with my husband Andrew and our two sons, Leo and Eddie. On June 6/13, just 2 weeks ago, Leo became a B'nai Mitzvah here at NSCI, thanks to an outstanding team of clergy and educators, including Rabbi Leisman, Dr. Roberta Goodman, Natalie Zafrani, Barbara Chandler, and Stacy Kirchheimer. Also, a month before that, thanks to Rabbi Green and Betty Hainsfurther, I had my adult B'nai Mitzvah ceremony here at NSCI along with my new friends in the adult B'nai Mitzvah program. Our younger son, Eddie, will be continuing his journey of Jewish learning at the Goodman Center for Jewish Education here at NSCI and, God willing, will become a B'nai Mitzvah here in the year 2030, which sounds oddly futuristic, despite this being a journey thousands of years in the making. Andrew and I met the old-fashioned way, on a dance floor in Los Angeles in 2004, long before it was legal for us to marry. Nevertheless, we were bonded from the first instant we met and have been building our lives together ever since. Andrew's parents, Diane and Joe, were living in Los Angeles at the time and immediately welcomed me into their home and their lives. Andrew and I embarked on many travel adventures together. First to Scotland, where we got locked out of a castle, true story. Then to Argentina, Uruguay, Spain, England, France, Turkey, Greece, Croatia, and South Africa on safari with Andrew's parents, where we learned that Andrew's mom is the bravest of us all. We built amazing memories over all these years and developed a great well of love to share. With all our love to share, we decided to start a family and adopted Leo in 2013 and Eddie in 2017, each when they were born. And our adventures continue each day. We take time to learn what's happening in each other's daily lives with lots of sit-down meals together, celebrating Shabbat every week, and supporting each other in our trials and tribulations, celebrating the wins and talking through the challenges, with an unending curiosity of what each day will bring. We do all this with a huge amount of understanding, support, forgiveness, and fun. You know, traditional family values. We're grateful we found a welcoming community here at NSCI. I have to admit, I was nervous about joining a synagogue. Would we fit in? Would people genuinely want to connect with us? Or would we just be tolerated? Tolerance has never been something I've taken much comfort in. It's such a low bar. Fortunately, as we deepened our connections here, my fears of not fitting in quickly dissipated. And the more I learned about the principles of Reform Judaism, the more convinced I became that our family has a rightful place in any Jewish community. I grew up in a large Mizrahi, modern Orthodox family. My mom was from Cairo, Egypt. She had 7 siblings, so I have a lot of aunts, uncles, and cousins. All of my aunts and uncles and my mom had to flee Egypt in the early 1960s, together with hundreds of thousands of other Jews, almost 1 million actually, fleeing from the Middle East, as Israel was at war fending off its neighbors. My grandfather, Daniel Cohen Tawil, was the patriarch of the family and the leader of all our Jewish traditions. I can still hear his voice leading the family seders in a packed room, chanting in a distinctly Egyptian style, with the skill and knowledge of a cantor. My parents were somewhat the rebels in the family, so I did not learn much Hebrew as a kid, and we were very secular in our home, though we fully immersed ourselves in Jewish tradition at all the extended family gatherings. I had a lot of fear coming out in this type of family. What would happen if I publicly flouted Orthodox tradition and Arab archetypes of masculinity? Would I be excluded from my family and be left only with a chosen family of friends, as is the case for many in the LGBTQ+ community? How would it all work out when I found a mate? Would we have to sneak around and hide from my family? Fortunately, my parents raised me to stick up for myself and live proudly. So I was able to muster up the courage to come out at a young age, 19. My grandfather had already passed. At first, it did not go well with some in the family, though most were supportive and quickly moved along with the times. It got better. My husband, Andrew, never got to meet my grandfather. But about 10 years ago, my grandfather visited me in a vivid dream. In the dream, he was bathed in light, wearing a 3-piece suit, as he always did on holidays. After I had a moment to absorb his presence, he said, "I need to go to the biggest temple at the top of the highest hill and give a speech." I woke up and told Andrew about the dream, so we have evidence. Nothing could have seemed more far-fetched at the time. We hardly ever went to temple, did not belong to a congregation, did not live very Jewishly, and I could not imagine what I would ever have to say in front of a congregation. I quickly set the dream aside in the back of my mind, not knowing what to make of it. When it was time for Leo to start his B'nai Mitzvah prep here at NSCI, we started attending Shabbat services. I was clearly lost, mumbling along and remembering nothing from my bar mitzvah as a teenager. Sitting next to me one Shabbat evening, Roberta Goodman suggested I look into the adult B'nai Mitzvah program to learn the prayers. Then, when Betty and Trip Hainsfurther dropped by our house to welcome us to NSCI, I heard all about how enriching the adult B'nai Mitzvah program is, and I was convinced I needed to do it. It was the perfect solution to get caught up and reconnected, and hopefully I could learn enough to help Leo at home with his studies. So I talked through it with Rabbi Green, and with her encouragement, I took the plunge. Getting reconnected with Judaism on a deeper level felt raw and emotional, like an overdue reunion. I choked up each time I was able to chant a new prayer fluently. I'm sure my grandfather could see where this was headed. Then, a few months ago, I got an email from Rabbi Geffen asking if I'd be interested in giving a speech this year for Pride Shabbat. I paused and thought, well, of course I have to say yes. And then it became clear. My grandfather's spirit had been guiding me to this moment, slowly but surely, and altogether unpredictably. Now, here I stand on Shabbat at the biggest temple on top of the highest hill, the top of a bluff, giving the speech my grandfather wanted me to give. In that dream, I think he was telling me to live authentically, live Jewishly, and be proud of both. Thank you, Rabbi Geffen and the NSCI community for giving me this opportunity to share my story. I hope it's helpful to others searching for a path to live authentically. Happy Pride Month. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Kevin, thank you so much. When you get a message in a dream, it qualifies you potentially as a prophet. So pretty amazing. The burden, but also the privilege. And I would say that your nechemta, as we would say, to live authentically, live proudly, and be proud of both. Was that the last directive? Right? I'm not sure if live Jewishly, live authentically, live Jewishly, and be proud of both. That's what it was. And as a directive for anybody in our Jewish community, I think that there is no better way for us to aspire to live, and you teach us with your life experience, with your wisdom, with your open heart, and we're grateful to you and your family and your grandfather, who I believe is smiling down on you this day and every day. And maybe we'll come to you in a dream this evening. So we'll see. But thank you so much for taking up this invitation and saying yes. We are grateful.